right. My name is Bruce Herr. I'm the technical director of the Cyber Infrastructure for Network Science Center at Indiana University. I'm involved with creating the Human Reference Atlas. And so we've been working on ontologies, biomedical ontologies, and linking them with linked open data, doing some interesting stuff with that for the last 6 years. And when ChatGPT came out, we started to see that this thing is beyond just the hype, and that we're kind of in a new age of technology. And so at our center, we've been trying to figure out how we can use AI before AI can start using us. And so that we can find a way where we can really leverage what's going on in the large language model space, but also leverage the great work that's been happening with biomedical ontologies for a long time. And because both those allow computers to reason, to talk. And so what we want to explore today is sort of this, how can we use ontologies and AI to further our science, and especially furthering the multiscale human. So today we have 3 speakers. They'll have about 10 minutes apiece where they can talk about their work in the AI knowledge graph ontology space. And then afterwards, we'll have a little conversation to talk about, the future and how we can use ontologies and AI, more fully. So our first speaker is Maria-Esther Vidal from Leibniz University of Hanover. And I'll let her take over. And do you want me to do the slides, or do you want to?
I would prefer if I can share my screen, if you allow me that, okay? So it's better. So that will be better. So let's check. So I think you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, excellent, and you can hear me as well. So good morning to the ones who are in the morning side and in Germany. So for us it's good evening. So it's a pleasure for me to participate in this very interesting event. And the idea today is that I'm going to talk about what we are doing with knowledge graph and how these knowledge graph are helping to actually improve not only the performance of AI models, but also the interpretability of what they are doing, okay, or what they are predicting. As Bruce was indicating, I'm a professor from the Leibniz University in Hanover, but also I'm the head of the Scientific Data Management Group in TIB. TIB is an institute for science and technology, and also is one of the largest libraries in the world, at least in science and technology. This is the largest library in Germany. And in here, what we are trying to help or support is with these knowledge-driven architectures when we are enhancing the explainability of the models that we are using for prediction, or we are using for recommending new problems in science. I'm going to, even the technologies that we are developing are technologies that are domain agnostic. I'm going to position my work in the context of lung cancer, because we have worked in lung cancer for more than 8 years, and we have clear problems in which we have contributed, and also we have interacted a lot with the different type of users that are in this ecosystem. So that means that we have interact with oncologists, with associations of patients, with also general medical doctors, and with that we have identified like the different type of requirements that all of these type of users are, and how ontologies, and in this case a knowledge graph that integrate not only ontologies but data, are able to contribute to a better communication with these different type of users. Well, saying that, all of us know that when we are talking about these data ecosystems, when we are having multiple sources, the problem is not only all the heterogeneities that we can have because we have, for example, clinical records that usually are textual material, or also we are integrating with, or we have to integrate with multimodal data that is also coming from images or from different type of tests. But the problem also is that we may have scientific publications and clinical trials. And at the end, all these are representing extremely important knowledge that at the end generates many different heterogeneities that are impacting the quality of the support that we can propose or provide to satisfy clinical objective. And clinical objective, for example, is detecting relapse or no relapse. That was one of the problems in which we have worked for years. And you will see how, by using these traditional methods, we couldn't satisfy actually the requirements that these users were having. Why? Because at the end, always the black models were the ones that were preventing the transparent approach that could be understood by the different users. So what we were working more is, and this is what the ontologies are playing an important role in these interpretable models where we are aiming personalized treatments. And with that, I will go with hybrid AI. In hybrid AI, we have on one hand these data sources that we are processing, and in here, when also we have incorporated large language models, and the large language models are playing a very important role in not only enabling the extraction of relevant knowledge from these data sources, but also linking to existing ontologies. But at the end, what we have is just the formalization of what is called a data integration system, where actually what we have is the ontologies that are integrated from the different domains, for example, UMLAs, or the ontologies that we are extending with our universe for representing our universe of scores. And we are also considering different type of data sources. And something that is very important is that also we represent not only what is representable via ontologies, but also what is representable via integrity constraints. And in these integrity constraints, we are relying on a concept that is called shapes, and particularly with standards like shackle, in order to represent the constraints as, for example, cardinality, as the different type of relationship that may exist in a particular universe of scores that we are modeling, in order to allow that knowledge is not only representable via static structures, as for example, when we have ontologies, but also via constraints. And this is an important point. When we are talking about this knowledge graph, in is like when similar to this ontology, when we have the knowledge and we are in some way modeling them via graph data models, but also we are integrating data. And when we are integrating data, this allows us to put together what is representable in these abstract frameworks or formal frameworks that are the ontologies, but also what is bringing input from the data. And with the reasoning processes that are part of these formal frameworks that are ontologies at the end, we are able to infer new instances and new relationships that we have in this knowledge graph. So in this case, we can see that this knowledge graph is a portion of our lung cancer knowledge graph, where we have people who are related to familial or relatives who are also suffering, for example, from breast cancer or from lung cancer, or a mother with lung cancer, and all what is related to the status or the clinical status of this person, right? And the ontologies are playing the role not only to provide a context in how these properties are defined, but also contextual information about the values that we are having. So, for example, if this person is receiving a treatment of omeprazole, but the omeprazole is annotated with a term learn from a particular ontology that in this case is UMLS, and that particular ontology has a description. The description has a particular semantic type, and that semantic type also corresponds to a particular semantic group. And that is given contextual information at the end is going to be used during analytics and is going to be used by either the large language model or the AI system that we have selected. So when we are talking about these neurosymbolic approaches, what we are thinking in one hand is that we have all what is coming from neural components. So for example, we have these black boxes that allow us to learn, for example, the vectorial representation of a knowledge graph, but in the other hand, we have what is bringing an ontology or what is bringing us a symbolic system that allow us to reason. And our intention is to put all this together in order to provide these systems that are more expressive and also, as you will see, in many cases are more accurate as well. So as we see, there are many challenges, as I was saying, and we have worked for years in all these different problems that are that we have to face. For example, evolving medical knowledge. This is something that is commonly happen because, first of all, ontologies are providing this contextual information, but as all of us know, the knowledge is fragmented. So we can have a particular disease that is described in one way in the disease ontology, but when we go to UMLS, we have 10 different terms that are describing the disease, and when we are meeting the different experts, each of them have a different opinion of how it should have been described. Also, we have frequently updates in clinical guidelines. This is a problem that, for example, is facing cancer, where the guidelines are indicating how the different drugs need to be used according to the conditions of a person, and something that we need to face is how to represent that. In addition to what I have said, the heterogeneous data, the heterogeneous communities, and of course, all what is ethical and legal. What we have put together is what we call TrustKG. TrustKG is a framework that relies on semantic data management, knowledge graph management, knowledge graph analytics, and machine learning communication. And in knowledge graph analytics, that is basically where we have these components. I just illustrate in two cases where we are predicting links, and these links are links that satisfy the constraints of the universe of this course, or we are using causal prediction. Particularly, we are interested in contrafactual prediction. And when we have that, we have human-machine communication that is the one that is allowing an interface with the users in the way that they are expecting to receive this. And with that, we have natural language interfaces, or we have interfaces that via scientific publications, we are able to communicate not only the results that we have, but also how they are supported by publications where these results have been supported or reported. So with that said, just to very simply present what is the problem of a valid link prediction. So imagine we have to people, right, that we want in some way to predict if they should receive or not receive a treatment. But the main problem is that there are guidelines that are indicating how the treatment should be administered. For example, if a person is suffering from a particular suffer lung cancer, cannot receive nivolumab. Nivolumab is a very effective drug in lung cancer if the person is EGFR positive. So these are things that when link predictions are, the link prediction problem is implemented, usually these models are not taking into account these semantics that is coming either from the ontologies or is represented using integral constraints. And what we have observed is that when we are able to explicitly represent these semantics, as you could see in this table, so in different models, and this is the model that we call BICE, when we are actually using all the semantics that is coming, not only from the ontologies, directly from the reasoning processes, but also what is coming from this representation of the constraints and the result of explicitly representing if the constraints are validated or not. And what is important to highlight is that in all the cases, when we are trying to use the semantics, the models get better. So if we go to this question in how ontologies or semantic can improve AI, we can see that in this model that is these models that are tailored for a knowledge graph, we can see an improvement of the models. Also, in causal prediction, another problem that is that usually causal prediction is done from data and is ignoring the meaning. And what we are doing here is just again taking what we can extract from metadata that are ontologies, domain knowledge, and pass that to large language models in order to enhance the predictability that we have for these causal or contrafactual events. And what we have observed is that when we are comparing what these models are able to do with what experts are given to us, we do have, and these are the healthcare AI, what we are able to see is that these models are improved. So in that case, this is another evidence that ontologies plus domain knowledge that is represented either with the facts from the ontologies or from rules that are learned from the knowledge graph are improving the performance. And of course, together with LLMs, so in that case, the question that how LLMs can contribute, you can see that they are in the pipeline. And that is also for contrafactual prediction. So I would like to close my talk just mentioning that we have the open research knowledge graph in TIB, that Professor Sorenauer is the director of this initiative. And in this open research knowledge graph, we have publications, and this is a big knowledge graph that represents in a fine grain scientific publications. And on top of that, we have the ORKG ask, that is the one that is allowing, for example, if I have that this is a prediction, well, it's in general for any question, right? But what we are using the ORKG ask is that if we have a prediction, the prediction is representable in natural language in order to contact and explain that to the users. But then we use the ORKG ask to support with publications how this is having reported in the literature. The ORKG ask is a generic approach, can be used for any communication with the users, but we are using it in that way. So this is the close of my talk. As is important to remember, we have heterogeneous data sources, definitely these neurosymbolic systems that are relying on ontologies that are improving at the end the explainability and also the accuracy of all our systems in which we have worked. And these are publications that you can actually check, and everything have been supported by Leibniz Association. And these are my part of my students who have worked with me in this research.
Okay, wow, thank you. That's really interesting, very cool stuff going on. I think I want to save most of the questions to the end, but definitely keep that in mind for when we come to the last part of the panelists. So, Kiki, do you want to share your screen, or do you want me to?
Oh, hi, Bruce. If
Hi.
you have me to present the slide, it will be better.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
So Kiki has been working with us at Indiana University on this HRAlit project, and so she'll be presenting her work with that. So
Yeah, thank you for introduction.
Sorry, do I need to share the screen? I thought you said.
Yeah, maybe you can help me to share your screen. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
no problem. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Okay, all right, here we go.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. Oh, yeah, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for, sorry. Next slide. Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to attend my presentation today. And my name is Yongxin, and I was a visiting PhD student in Indiana University, and now is a postdoc at the Chinese Academy of Science. And today, my title of my presentation is the HRAlit publication findings and experimental data in support of the Human Reference Atlas constructions and usage. Next slide, please. Yeah. As shown on this slide, the primary goal of the HRAlit project is to map the human body as single-cell resolutions. And this ambitious effort aims to carefully identify and model every cell's organ systems and functional region of the human body. And such a high-resolution atlas gives us a new and deep understanding of how human health works and how the disease happens. Next slide, please. Oh, next slide, please. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Both the slide. One. Yeah. As the time going on, the HRAlit project has expanding greatly, and not only in the organ being mapped, but also in the variety and complexity of the data type being integrated. And in this slide, you can see the impressive projects made so far, including the 25 experts contributing and thousands of the publication driving these efforts and mapping the 65 organs and identification of thousands of anatomical structures, cell types, and the biomarker. Next slide, please. As the HRAlit grows, many high-quality experimental data sets are becoming available from the multiple research projects. Here, I highlight some of the major projects contributing to this data sets, including the Human Biomolecular Atlas programs, also called the HubMap, and the Kidney Precision Medicine projects, SANET, GTEST, and GoodTests, and GoodMaps, and the CZ Sabagene. However, a major challenge remains. Searching for the data across the portal is very difficult. With so many independent data sets hosted on different platforms, researchers had the trouble to find, access, and combine this information quickly. So the availability of these data sets is exciting development that drives the progress in building in the Human Reference Atlas. Moving forward, addressing the data accessibility challenge will be critical to maximize the value of this resource for the scientific community. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. As we can see, HRAlit-related publication is in a rapid increase, and as more researchers contributing to this growing body of the work, it becomes increasingly important to integrate or organize this knowledge to maximize its impact on the science and medicines. Next slide, please. To provide a deeper understanding of the scholarly efforts supporting the HRAlit, this slide shows the key metrics networks. Sorry. As we can see, and then to the number of the publication increasing exponentially, and then so there are many of the paper related the HRAlit has been grouped. Oh, next slide, please. So in here to provide a deeper understanding of the scholarly effort to support the HRA, and so here shows the network about the publication, co-authorship, and the findings. So this visualization provides the compelling evidence of the intensive scholarly activity supporting the HRA, and they highlight that the global scale of the collaboration across the culture and the institution, and the specialized focus on the key organs such as the liver, lung, and the brain, and the important role of the funding agencies in the driving organ-specific research. Next slide, please. So now let's take a closer look at the structure of the HRAlit database, which serve as a competitive research for the HRA. At the heart of the HRAlit is the HRA data. So it includes some important elements like that the digital objects, an organ and their anatomical structure, cell types, and biomarker. What's more, there are 2D functional tissue unique and 3D reference objects and mode map. Next, HRA integrates the experimental data sets and the donor data information from the important source that's like CG by gene, GTAG, and the HubMap. And then HRAlit also connects to the publications through the PubMed, linking us to the information about the funding, founder, and authors, and the institution. Additionally, we use the HRAlit to clean and organize the information about the institution and the founders. Then to expand the range of the HRA-related publication, we also include the relevant paper from the style marker. Next slide, please. So this slide shows the entity relationship diagrams of the HRAlit database, and this slide shows this ERD decides to handle the complexities and the scale of the HRA. And there are 22 tables, each with a name and the primary keys, which used to uniquely identify each record, and the foreign key, which used to reference the primary key of each table. And the entity properties. And then in here, there are set table in here are so-called the junction tables that capture the relationship. Next slide, please. As part of our commitments to the open science and the data accessibility, the HRAlit database is made available to the public through the fixed share. So the entire database, including the SQL file and all individual tables in CSV format, can be downloaded via the provided DOI. Next slide, please. And this slide presents the insights into the distribution of the data and the resource in the HRAlit database. And this chart showcases the data contributions across various organs, such as the brain, liver, and kidney for multiple categories. And then the map visualize the global distributions of the authors and founders contributing to the HRAlit related research. Next slide, please. Yeah. In addition to advancing the scientific knowledge, the HI places the significant emphasis on the diversity and the inclusion. Make sure it's worth reference the diversity of the human populations and engage of a wide range of the contributing. And the HI's diversity and inclusion metrics are open available through this shown dashboard. Next slide, please. Yeah, and the last slide, before concluding, I would love to take a moment to acknowledge my PI, Professor Kati Bonner, and the lab CNS and these founders. And so thank you for your time and attention. Thank you. That's all. Thanks, Bruce.
All right. Thank you, Kiki. That was awesome. Okay, so in the interest of time, I want to go ahead and go on to the next speaker. So we'll have a little bit of time at the end for discussion. So next speaker, the last speaker here is Oliver He from University of Michigan, and another person I've been working with, and we've been doing some cool stuff with the HRA biomedical ontologies and with HubMap, and then interacting with KPMP and the ontology work that they're doing there and the data there. So yeah, let me just, Oliver, do you want me to handle the slides?
Yeah, you can handle it.
Okay.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to join this very exciting meeting. Yeah, my presentation is about ontology. I want to introduce some background about why ontology is a good one. It's a foundation of precision health data standardization, and also it is the foundation of AI. Next. So AI, people sometimes get confused what AI is. So in my view, AI has at least three complementary fields. So one is called knowledge representation and reasoning, and where the ontology is a major approach of this so-called KRR. So if you're looking for the wiki page of KRR, right, it's more like more than half of the wiki side is about ontology. And then another side is the NLP, and then the large language model is a major part of NLP, right? So it's emerging. And then another part is machine learning. A key part of machine learning is deep learning. And now deep learning has been used for LLM. So you can see the three parts, they actually interacting with each other. And in this talk, I will focus on ontology. Next. So ontology, philosophically, it's more like people call it the first philosophy, right? It's by Aristotle. So in his book, Metaphysics, he introduced, he didn't give the name ontology, but he said it's the first philosophy because it's logical and it's the core. It starts the being, the reality. So the onto means being and existence. And then the ontology term was coined in 1613 by two philosophers. And then, people still think it's the first philosophy, and then slowly things coming on in past, right? So the first one is called Porphyrian tree. So basically, it's trying to use the binary structure to identify things. And then later we have the taxonomy, like the Linnaeus taxonomy. So they give the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Next. So let's see what really is ontology now in IT field. So in IT field, it goes actually beyond what a taxonomy has. So taxonomy only has iteration, but in ontology, in what at least what we see in current IT setting, it has more than iteration, right? It has part of, for example, lung is a part of human. So in taxonomy, you can only say human is a mammal. You can only say lung is a part of human. You say lung is a human, then it's wrong, right? So ontology actually more like a network. It builds up relations and computer interoperable relations, and also computer can like do some inference based on. So it's indeed a foundation. Next. So I would say ontology equals entity terms. So often we represent them as a controlled vocabulary and then relations. So I would like to use the Bible story, right? The Tower of Babel. So the God doesn't want the people to build up the tower. So they let the people to speak different languages. So actually, ontology is the language of AI because AI can understand them, and AI can understand the terms and understand the relations. But of course, the robot AI, they may generate their own ontology in a mystery way, but we are building our own way with our human understandable way. So it's a key part of the semantic web as well. Next. So I would say the gene ontology makes a milestone for the ontology field. So that time, there were a lot of new genomes sequenced, right? The end of last century and the beginning of this century, and the people got frustrated on how to annotate them, and then the gene ontology came out. So its role initially is just like to make sure we can use a certain in a consistent way to annotate the genes and genomes from different organisms. So it has 3 branches, and in the end, it has all kind of applications, right? Like the most famous gene expression or gene expression enrichment analysis, and many others. Next. And then people say, oh, gene ontology is so famous. Now we probably need the ontology for almost everything, or at least in every biomedical things. And then there is the OBO, the Open Biological Biomedical Ontology Foundry. So its purpose is like, okay, let's set up some principles. So let's develop all kinds of ontologies, but all the ontologies should be interoperable with each other. Next. Okay, so then let's see, ontology has all kinds of applications, right? So it's, first of all, taxonomy is ontology, so it can name, right? And then you can build up a knowledge base, like the violin, the ontology, the legacy ontology that my lab is developing, and then you can do analysis, like gene ontology, you can do NLP, you can do integration, and you can do data exchange. So you can do all kinds of things all together now. Then you can do AI. Next. And I think there is a milestone paper like published in 2018. So Melissa and Chris and Peter, they published a review article in New England Journal of Medicine. So this kind of lay out the foundation, like ontology really kind of integrate the clinical data, the basic data, and the mechanistic data all together. And you can put all patients together in a way that all the things can be really interoperable and integrated. Next. So, and then that's where I was coming. So, and then I joined, invited by Dr. Matthias Kressler in Michigan. And he called me, hey, Oliver, you are the ontology guy on campus. So we like your help. So then I got involved in the KPMP project. It's a kidney precision medicine project. So it's definitely bigger data. It has clinical data, molecular data, and pathology data. And then it has kind of the patients kind of, if you just look for the case report form for patients, they have about 40 and tons of forms. And so it's a lot of things, and then molecular and the pathology, like imaging, so all kind of data. So how can you integrate all data together? It's a bigger problem, right? The focus of KPMP is on 2 diseases. One is the human kidney, one is acute kidney injury, it's called AKI, and another is called chronic kidney disease. So the bigger question for me to address is like, how can we integrate all data together? Next. And then like I was proposing 2 ontologies to develop. So one is called KTAO, Kidney Tissue Atlas Ontology. So this is more like a ontology level of knowledge base or knowledge graph. So we of course we can present them as a graph. And then we have another one is called OPMI, is Ontology of Precision Medicine and Investigations. So this one we call it a reference ontology. So it's more than kidney, but definitely kidney is our first use case to model. So and then we developed ontologies using the same like OBO principles, like openness, collaboration. And then we align with all the other ontologies like Ubron, HPO, gene ontology, cell ontology, etc. Next. Okay. So we published a paper in Nature Review Nephrology in 2020. So we give a few figures. So these are the two figures. So one is like, okay, we have ontology. It can be used to integrate all kind of data together, right? So it supports the data hub, data standardization. And another one is like, also you have a lot of data, but really when you look carefully, the core part is actually simple. So it's actually similar to the HRA, right? Like what Kiki just presented. So it's like, okay, you have a human, you have a phenotype, you have medical history, demographic, and the human has a part of anatomic entity. Anatomic entity has a cell, and the cell can form, of course, can have genes, proteins, and they can have different cell types. So the simple structure actually can lay out all the pieces of data together. Yeah. Next. And then we recently presented a paper in AMIA 2024, and then this paper was awarded the best paper award, one of the three. So we were very excited about this one. So basically, the idea is like when we're looking for, if you look for only KPMP, the KPMP have a different data set. If you look for only clinical data and biopsy data, so you see sometimes they present things differently. And then then the data presented to the cell by gene. So the cell by gene also they have their own way to representing the metadata. So you look for all the three, actually, there are 4 core parts which are shared by 3 pieces. But even for the 3 pieces, even the four metadata types, people present them in a different way. So really we need to, this actually emphasize why we need to have ontology, and the ontology should be interoperable, because sometimes it itself can be fine, but you become your own silo because you are not integrating with others. Next. So then we have the hackathon, the HRAlit hackathon. So the other people focus on more KPMP data, and then the hackathon one, we actually work with Bruce. So and the HRAlit people, the hackathon one is more like, okay, let's focus on HRAlit data, right? So let's say HRAlit is focused on the reference control data, and then KPMP focus on disease data. Let's use Kiki as an example. So can we really integrate the 2 pieces of data together? And can we use ontology, right? Then since a lot of things going on, we feel like we need to have a rather simple ontology than too complex ontology. So we see we can develop a simple ontology like a precision medicine metadata ontology as a PMMO, and we use SPP1 as the example. Next. And then we try to say, okay, maybe we can make some biological insights by doing the projects, right? So our core ideas, like let's use gene markers. So the gene markers actually can come at the marker level, and then cell level, and then kidney at a atomic structure level. This is actually also what HRA is doing, right? The gene, cell, and organ. So we can see really there are differences among different data sets. So we can really see how we can integrate them together. Next. So we use SPP1 as a biomarker. So as an example, so we did some study. So this one is more like using the cell by gene data. So we use some API, we develop API to process the cell by gene data, which is kidney data. It has all kinds of data there. So we look for the cell, including KPMP data, also there. So you can see like look for SPP1. So really the AKI and the cell AKI, CKD, and healthy actually they appear like quite different profiles. So this is the second column, and each row is the cell type. So you can see in different cell types they are also different. So we are very excited. We do have some other studies like how to use cell ontology to lay out the cell types and see how they are different. So I don't include the slide, but it's very exciting to have the other one. So it's a big study, and we are still working on the project now. Next. So just a couple of slides talk about the knowledge graph. So I think one question is like, how can we use ontology to support a knowledge graph, right? I would say a knowledge, actually ontology is a knowledge, right? If you present them into a graph structure, it becomes an ontology knowledge graph. So usually ontology related knowledge graph can be like in two examples. So one is triple store knowledge graph, one is property knowledge graph. And an ontology actually can standardize the basic knowledge framework using the standardized terms and the semantic relations. And also ontology can provide additional knowledge beyond their type, because ontology structure have embedded knowledge there. And ontology can also be used to annotate data. So it's a bigger question, but actually ontology can really be wonderful for knowledge graph. Next. Okay, so this is a RAG. Like so my lab also doing some RAG. So basically RAG idea is like okay, we have a large language model, it's a neural network structure, and then we want to add some additional layer of knowledge, to the structure, right? So you can empower to enhance the performance, right? And so how to enhance the performance? Actually, ontology can do a lot of work. So ontology actually, because it has structure, it can build up syntax data. So having an additional ontology layer to the as a RAG, right, can significantly enhance large language model. Next. So actually, my lab did some work. We developed some violin vaccine database. We spent 15 years, built up about 5,000 papers for about 5,000 vaccines. We feel like it's a great achievement, but still it's slow if we think about AI, right? So our goal now, actually, we're developing our pipeline to, let's hope we can do 1 year, we can have this many papers. So our pipeline, actually, we did some preliminary data, and we sure actually it may work out. And we are now kind of improving our pipeline, and we have a bioarchive paper now, but we are doing more actually. We're trying to finish our pipeline within a few months, and then we're trying to use it to kind of quickly populate our violin with a lot of data. Next. I think that's it. And then the discussion is the question actually Bruce gave to us. So I think I mentioned something there. I think RAG can really help ontology, and ontology can help RAG, and ontology. And if you think ontology is part of AI, then it's great. And then ontology can definitely improve other parts of AI like NLP and machine learning, and they all actually really can help each other. That's it. Thank you. Oh yeah, I have a lot of people to acknowledge KPMP, HubMap, and my own grant, and yeah, a lot of people there. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Oliver. That's awesome. Okay, yeah. So we have about 10 minutes for this for the Q&A. So yeah, I had originally put in a few different questions for us to think about, sort of open-ended questions, like mainly like what are people sort of excited about? There's this idea, we can use ontologies to improve AI responses, and of course inform AI, and then how can AI improve our ontologies? That's another thing where, I've seen some things like simple things like just generating the description for an ontology term. But there's also dangers in that. So like if we end up putting, there's been studies, if we put too much, if it starts, we have this thing where we say we try to eat our own dog food. Like, so we're generating these cool interfaces and data, and in order to really make sure that they're still useful, like we need to be able to use them ourselves. But if AI starts eating itself, then that becomes a problem. So anyway, I just want to open up the floor and get some of your thoughts on, like, first probably should focus more on the positive side of it. Like, what are some of the things you're seeing with ontologies and AI that are really getting you excited? Anybody can chime in.
Well, if you allow me to start, so as you saw, when we are creating this knowledge graph, the ontologies are playing a very important role because everything that we are integrating is annotated with these domain-specific ontologies, and they are providing all the contextual information that we need in order not to improve not only AI model as, for example, knowledge graph embedding, but also when we are using large language models. We are extracting what we call domain knowledge. And this domain knowledge is extracted from rules that we are learning from the knowledge graph, applying symbolic learning. And this is also notated with these ontologies at the end, are given the contextual information. And the performance of the large language models also you can observe the differences, right? So
Yeah.
how they are improving in reasoning, in detecting inconsistencies. Also, when you are saying how these large language models, for example, can help to define these ontologies because we have inconsistencies, right? Also, we may have the different term defined in different ways. So detecting these alignments is also we have work when we are showing how we are aligning. And these alignments also, large language models can help in order to improve the quality of ontology.
Yeah, I agree. I really like Maria's and Kiki's presentations very well. So give a lot of very wonderful showing and examples that actually demonstrated the use of ontology. So also I'm thinking like so really what is ontology, right? So people often think, oh, ontology is only terminology, but I feel like yeah, it's more than terminology, right? So really it's ontology in IT and ontology in philosophy, actually, they are really closely related. So it's how we view the world and how the things are organized. And now it's like how computer can understand this one. So they build on logic, right? So ontology is a fourth order logical based representation of the whole world. So no wonder, right? It has all the kind of math behind, so it is really a foundation of AI.
Yeah. When you said earlier that ontologies are part of AI, can you expand on that a little bit? Like,
yeah, sure. So if you look at the history of AI, right? So like it has been there for several decades. So sometimes it's more like the IBM, like IBM has the blue gene. IBM also has something called Watson and Watson Health, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to say, okay, we develop a supercomputer. You can do all the diagnosis, all the applications. So actually, for their purpose, the basic method they use is more like ontology. They put all the rules, all the structure there, and then the user can query. So they can query from the ontology actually. So ontology is a core part of Watson Health project, but of course it didn't move forward. And then you have a statistical based certain right of AI. So the rule or the ontology-based AI versus statistics-based AI, right? So actually, they kind of come and go. Actually, some maybe this 10-year is more like a rule or ontology or implementation dominated method. Another 10-year, it's more like a math or statistics-based one. Of course, now we all know it's more statistics or the deep learning one. But again, if you think of the history of AI, the ontology part plays a major role there.
yeah, it's like they're feeding each other. Yeah.
If we see to the initial ages of AI, you will see that they were working with symbolic systems. As Oliver is saying, this is a trade-off. Sometimes it's better the symbolic, the sub-symbolic, but nowadays what we have shown is that we need both. We need what is learned from data, that is these statistical models, but also we need the symbolic part. What we can do with the symbolic systems is like we have reasoning. We are able to extract, to represent all what we know for the domain. No, it's not only that we know from the data, because you can have in the data, you can have instances that are actually not representing what also we have in the domain knowledge. So that's why we always have these three directions, right? What you know from what you learn from the data, this is important, and we saw it in the contrafactual learning or contrafactual prediction. But what we know from the domain, and what we know from the domain is either what we learn with symbolic learning, say from the ontologies or from the knowledge graph, and also what we learn from the users, because the users are also very important. And we need the symbolic systems, ontologies, or other type of formal approaches in order to model this symbolic knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
So does anyone have any thoughts on like what should we be concerned about with these developments in AI and ontologies? Like, you know, one thing is like having the AI generate parts of your knowledge graph. Are there any dangers of like this circular reasoning, or what are some of the things we should watch out with when trying to leverage AI with your knowledge base?
Yeah, so that's more like what to do right next, right? Question. So I think definitely, ontology has a lot of role actually, or more maybe I would think great, more and more important. So first of all, I think we should make the data, right? Because data is somewhat like oil as a source of AI, but to make data so-called AI ready actually is not easy. So people have already found, so if the data is not that good, AI cannot do too much, right? So to make AI ready data, requires ontology. So I would think that that's one major part of it. Another one is like to build to make the ontology more like expanding quickly with more and more data in a way like the structure, right, becoming like kind of more expanded in a structured way. So in this regard, the ontology and the knowledge graph actually we serve the same purpose, right? You build up a huge knowledge, so a knowledge graph, and then AI can understand. And in this regard, an ontology definitely is critical. Yeah.
Okay, we had one question from the attendees, and I let him in so he can ask the question directly. Daniel?
Hey guys, I'm just from the next session, so just when you guys wrap up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, that was just for the tech support folks.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood that. Yeah, okay. So, well, we got 1 minute to go. So I just want to thank you guys once again for coming out and having these great talks and great conversation. It's definitely something that's continuing to evolve, and I really look forward to continuing working with you guys and just seeing where this goes. So, so thanks again.
Well, many thanks for the invitation. Looking forward to have further discussions. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.